Hello, this is Christopher Wiley. This is Project 3, and the name of the project is Phase 3. I went with an escape the room theme with these glass walls where you can see everything. The player character has to collect all the orbs using the droid over here inside its little droid bay. And once he's collected all of them, the glass wall will raise and he can escape. To get a better idea of the mazes, he has 4 monitors that are these things over here. The monitors use the switching blueprint, and I'll go ahead and show that off right here. Here is the blueprint monitors, and they use the incremental effect as well. So it says switch on integer, and there is the integers right there. And basically, when you press the F key, it goes and grabs a set material based on the number that it's currently at. The event tick is right here. It goes to switch int, and it has camera to show. Now this is just for the TVs. I'll go ahead and go through a little more slowly. These are the material arrays right here where it's picking through the materials. There are 4 in each television monitor. And each one corresponds to a set of 4 cameras for a building. Each TV monitor is pointed at the building it corresponds to help the player get a sense of location. As you can see here, this is how everything works. Basically, it gets the 3rd array element when the integer has been increased, and then using the default setting, we set camera to 0 so that it keeps cycling through. Now, to handle the actual button presses, we have just a simple trigger right here. And on actor begin overlap, we enable input from the player controller, player index 0. However, on end overlap, we disable it, and on event begin play, we disable it. To get everything to work, we basically have camera changer, which is attached to F, and when F is pressed, we set camera, and we are setting it to camera to show, and that's set to something here where it increases the integer by 1 every single time the button is pressed. See here, it says camera changer, and goes through here. It says camera to show, and it tells it what we want it to do, and it increases the camera to show by 1. And then it sets that camera to show on the texture. I ran into a really weird problem, and this happened every single time, where I would build the lighting, and the cameras would break and have this kind of checkerboard texture. And nothing I could do could fix that. So what I decided to do was, instead of building out my entire maze system, I developed one maze, and I'm going to, in this demonstration, show you that I do know how to get the cameras to work. I'm going to go to my blueprints. I'm going to go to TV blueprint. I'm going to drag that right there to rotate it 45 degrees. Get a better angle. Grab these 2 sides and slowly make it go in so that the only thing showing is the front of that monitor. Now, we'll go right up here and we say materials. We'll add 1, 2, 3, 4. So Then we go back to content and we go to textures, and I already have the materials made. So we'll just take 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, there are cameras like this in every single building, along with lights, as I'll demonstrate here. Well, you can see all the cameras and lights, and there's that in every single building, and those all correspond to the monitors. But I was, again, had difficulty getting the monitors to even work, so I figured this was the best way I could show that I do understand it, but something is going wrong, and I can't get it to fix itself. So go ahead and hit play, run up here. That's the wrong one. Always get a little turned around. There it is. This is supposed to help give you an idea of what is in each of these. And of course, as I'm trying to do a demonstration, it won't cycle through. Why won't you cycle through? My F key is pressed. Everything seems to be saying. This was another problem I would consistently have, where the cameras wouldn't cycle every once in a while. And there was no rhyme or reason to them not cycling, which is very frustrating. Oh, I know why. I'm being silly. I need to tell it which TV blueprint. Ugh. Okay, now I can show you. And I have gone to the wrong camera every time. Yeah, as you can see, it's supposed to give you an idea of the things you can look for inside. Now, for the ease of this, I basically made it so where you can jump through this wall. Another thing I wanted this level to have was this text that was always up on the screen no matter what, so that when you started, you could read it and see what it said and be able to understand what it wanted you to do. So, to show that off, this is what lets us change to the droid. It's called Droid Switch. So on Event Actor Begin Overlap, we enable the input from the player controller, and we're telling it to get the player controller from player index 0. So when that happens, we have the input enabled. When you press E, it tells it to unpossess the current target and then repossess another target. And that is all based on getting the player controller player index 0. Now this tells it which pawn to possess. And basically pawn to possess changes depending on which character you currently are, either the droid or not the droid. And whenever you step off, it disables input. Actually, whenever you have pressed the button, it disables the input to stop you from just continuously switching. Now, when you are not there, you have no input. When you're not on it and at the beginning of the game, it's set to not allow you to have any input. So that's how that one works. And the droid has the same one over in the droid station. The droid I gave a metallic look in reference to C-3PO and the video tutorial that was provided to us. This glass wall has a blueprint on it as well, and that is on event tick, which the event tick will be explained later. It branches. If false, it does nothing. If true, it plays the matinee glass wall. The condition for this is locked. Now, is locked is based on the sphere, which I'll go ahead and go to right now. This is the sphere blueprint. It's hidden inside the maze. Is that a weird angle? Now, when we open up the sphere, it shows this. It says lift, which is in reference to the glass wall because it's lifting into the air. And on event actor begin overlap, it sets is locked to checkmark, and then it destroys the actor. Here is the maze itself. Oh, well. The walls had to be this high to prevent the player from being able to see over them, and it was built with lots of false paths and lots of different other things. And there are 9 lights in each room, providing kind of a yellowish glow. The doors are set on the standard event overlap play matinee. I had a lot of problems with timeline. These buildings were originally static meshes with a box cut into them, and I built the static mesh using all 3 components, and no matter what I did, I could not get it to let me build a collision box that worked. I would love your input, Professor, on how I can improve that, because I honestly couldn't get it to work at all, and I tried for hours and hours and hours, and eventually I just decided that I didn't have the time to spend waiting around when I could build a level and show you that I understand the concepts. I just couldn't get it to work. Another thing I want to add really quickly here is that this week I have the GDEX, or the Game Developers Expo, here in Ohio, and I'm going there at the end of the week, so I'm going to try and turn things in, and I hope everything is still of a high quality. I just don't know if it'll be as good as some of the things I've done in the past, as it starts on Friday and ends Sunday night. And I'll provide a link to the expo in the description so you can see what I'm talking about. But I think this is a really good opportunity for me in my area to put my name out there and to show off some of my stuff. Back to this. There isn't a whole lot else to show, as each of these rooms was incomplete due to the weird monitor situation, and I just didn't want to spend the time trying to fix them constantly when you wouldn't even be able to see them. I guess the best thing to do now is to go ahead and play and show off everything. We enter here, and then we hit. Now, because we started in it, we have to run out, then run back in. Read all this, hit E. And I added a lot of visual effects to the camera to make it seem like you were looking at some kind of monitor. Again, I didn't get to making this said monitor due to time constraints, but that was the original idea. And something I'm really impressed with, and I'll actually show you that after I finish this level, is I set the doors here to only be triggerable by the Android, because initially there was no wall and I had an entirely different concept in mind. But I really liked this, the way I built this, because after the person leaves, they can't get in the rooms because they have to have the tag droid. So when we come out of here, it's raised into the sky, and we can run back and get our little droid hub. And we're back to being a person. We'll go ahead and show off the droid itself from this perspective. It is gold, You can't really see it because we're in the shadow. And that's another thing I struggled with was lighting. But I think I got the lighting pretty good in these rooms. Actually, when it's that way, it doesn't look that good. Here, I will build very quickly while we're talking. The main thing I struggled with Timeline was creating the trigger boxes and getting those to work and getting the collision to work on something that had, it would say, multiple assets. And I couldn't figure out a way to get it to create a single unified object where it registered that this wasn't just a box anymore, a hollow box, but something that had two holes in it, in the hopes of allowing you to go inside. And all the lights have failed to allocate a lot of stuff, but that's fine. I just wanted to show off that the lights do work. And in regards to the actual maze itself, they light it quite well, allowing the player to go through and see just about everything, but add a little bit of interest to it. And the way the droid is built allows you to see everything still, even with the weird colors I used for the droid. See, again, I did this to just give it a kind of effect of like you're not getting like the normal kind of visual you're getting something kind of robotic. And for these doors, I added, like I said earlier, I added an extra bit of finesse where the actor has to have a tag, and that tag is droid, and it's telling that when actors overlap this, they have to have that. If false, if you are not a droid, it prints only droids. Now, when true, it plays the matinee, and it does the same thing for reverse on end overlap. If you're not, it prints only droids, and then it plays it in reverse. So, right, that is my whole level. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me any feedback. And I apologize for not having the timeline, but I just couldn't get it to work at all. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.